Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Comic Shop Adventure. I'm, of course, the Athletic Geek, and this is my weekly excursion where I venture out of the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ in search of a bounty of comics, figures, collectibles, and so much more. But as per the beginning of all of my Comic Shop Adventures, it's time to talk about what stood out for my bounty last week. And first thing I really want to talk about, whoop, dropping the phone there, is, Batwoman. Batwoman was really, really good. They used the Clock King, which I kind of thought was a fun little... My first exposure to Clock King was in Batman the Animated Series, but I really enjoyed kind of the evolution, the different versions they have in the DC Universe, and the version they're using in Batwoman was very, very good. The book was very, very good. Batwoman's not always a home run, with the issues that I get, but it's always, consistently a hit. And, it's one of the more, I feel, underrated books out there right now, and it's only continuing to get better. It's our new story arc. It seemed like they teased a little bit of romantic tension between Montoya and Batwoman, which I thought was kind of neat, but it's just a good book. It's not always the home run. It's not always, the best book, but it's a book that deserves a lot more credit. So Batwoman was one of the ones that really stood out for me last week. Thor by Jason Aaron was very good. As I've said in previous videos, Thor's never really been a character that I always gravitated to. I never disliked him, but I've never really, wanted to read, his single issues. I've read good Thor stories. I enjoyed the Jane Foster Thor. I, have enjoyed various Thor graphic novels, but I've never really just been so attached to Thor that I'd want to read, at least under Odin's son, a run with Thor. But that's changing now because Jason Aaron is very, very good at what he does. Very, very good story going on there. And then finally, I'm going to talk about Batman number 51. Now, this was a good issue. I'm not going to give credit due. It's a good issue. I'm talking about it. It's one of my picks of the week. This does not excuse the bait and switch with the Batman and Catwoman wedding. Yeah, that is, not trying to, say that everything that Tom King writes on Batman, should be considered moot because of it, but I'm also going to say that I haven't fully forgiven him for that yet. That being said, the beginning of this Mr. Freeze story arc is very, very interesting. Maybe I'm not going to be good. He's going to have to work his way back up to that, no disrespect. But it was very interesting. It starts off with, Bruce is being summoned for jury duty for Mr. Freeze on the case of Mr. Freeze killing 3 women. But the lawyer for Mr. Freeze is saying that Batman, since a vigilante is used and he confessed because Batman did it and wasn't the cops. So it's kind of, if you're interested in law, which I'm not, but if you're interested in kind of that type of thing, hey, that's it'd be a cool issue for you. But I can't get into too much detail without spoiling, and I try my best not to spoil because I want to encourage you guys to go to your local comic shops and pick up these books if you haven't already. But the ending is what's really got me intrigued for the future. And yeah, to me, it's kind of like, what's going on with this? What's going on inside Bruce's head? All these different things, but it's not your stereotypical, it's not what I thought it was going to be. I just thought we were going to have a Mr. Freeze story, and it's clearly completely different than what I thought it would be. Had a phone call during the opening for the first time while I was talking about the latest issue of Batman, so that's a first for the Comic Shop Adventure. But my top 3 of last week, Batman, just because of, I'm kind of interested to see, what direction they take this now. Still not forgiving him for what happened with the Bruce and Catwoman wedding. Batwoman, great book, said not always a home run, but this one was. And Thor, but that is pretty much, other books that Justice League stood out, was decent, really enjoying Snyder's Justice League, but still not really, just not on the level those 3 were, but, hey, you ain't gonna win them all, they ain't all gonna be the best. But that is what stood out from last week, but I will see you guys when I return with my bounty of comics and collectibles So we'll see you back here in a bit. Hey everyone, I am back here at the homestead at Athletic Geek HQ, and I've got quite a different sort of bounty today. I got quite a bit of books, a lot of regular favorites, but I got some new ones in there, so not going to waste any more time. Let's check out the bounty for the week, and we're going to start off with the highly delayed and inconsistent Doomsday Clock. And listen, I think Jeff Johns is one of the best writers of this generation. I think that this book has been great so far, but, you know, and delays happen. Circumstances are sometimes beyond their control, but this story is not going to be looked upon as favorably as it should have because of the delays. Just real talk right there. This is a good story. It's an interesting story. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, merging the Watchmen with the main DC universe. But because you can't get it every month, or, gee, I can't even remember how long it's been since I picked up another Doomsday Clock book. But the fact that it's never fresh in anyone's mind is taking away from how good of a book this could have possibly been. Will it get better possibly in trade and be looked upon more favorably? Who knows? But as it stands right now, I should be a lot more excited about this book, but because it's just not around, I'm not. And I hate to say that because it's cool, but that's just the truth of the matter. But I don't have any ill will to not buy it anymore, so Doomsday Clock number 6. It's on the agenda for this week. And then from there we go to Detective Comics number 985, and this book's still kind of looking to get its footing back after the change in writers. You know, it's kind of more of they're doing one-shots more so right now than anything else. Not really a streamlined story, which is kind of neat, but you know, it's not really the big Bat team like I did, and I know that kind of with the way the last run ended, you kind of had to get away from that, but still, I'm not thinking about dropping it, but I'm definitely still don't have that excitement for this book as I used to have under the previous writer. But still. Detective 985. And from there we have Aquaman number 38. This book's gonna have to step it up. At the beginning of the DC Rebirth, this was one of the best books at DC. Now it's just not gripping me as much, and it is on the chopping block, and you know, if some people are still digging it, that's cool. But for me, it's definitely not where it once was during the DC Rebirth. So it's gonna have to, something's gonna have to change. You know, who knows what's gonna. Anytime I've talked about that, more often than not here on the Comic Shop Adventure, it's stepped up its game and it's turned into a book I got excited about. See, Old Man Logan, but. Aquaman needs that right now. From there we have The Flash, number 51, the epilogue after the Flash War storyline, and it says the last race of Wally West. So I'm wondering if the Wally that I grew up with is going to be leaving the book, or they're going to be not using his character as much anymore. I hope not, but we will see. Enough said. To quote Stan Lee, enough said. From there, we have Terrifics number 6. And, you know, this is a fun little book. Kind of like what I've said about Batwoman. It's not always the home run, but it's just consistently a good little book. And I enjoy it. You know, I like Plastic Man. I like Metamorpho. I always liked Plastic Man. I've liked Plastic Man since I started reading comic books. Metamorpho kind of got into after finding out about him in the Justice League TV series in the early 2000s. And, you know, those are two fun characters, and I'm glad they're in a book, and I enjoy it. So, Terrifics number 6. And now we go to Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 49. And I know this book is ending soon, and it makes me sad, but boy, it's going out with a bang with this big, just epic storyline going on right now, and I dig it, and I'm hoping that we, when it goes down to just a singular Green Lanterns book, yeah, I'm hoping that I can get my fix of all these great characters that I enjoy. But this has been a good book, and I'm disappointed it's ending, but, you know, it is what it is. And to round out the DC part of the pull list, we have Justice League Dark, #1. I read the New 52 Justice League Dark with Zatanna and Constantine being there, but I'm going to give this one a shot just because Tinian is writing it, and I enjoyed, his work on Detective Comics, as you're well aware, but just kind of like, look at this. I'm not a Wonder Woman fan, but Wonder Woman leading a Justice League team with Swamp Thing as a member of the team, that's intriguing to me, and I'm going to give it a shot and see if I like it, and if I do, it'll be a regular part of the pull list and part of the episodes here, and if I don't, well, to each their own, but Wonder Woman's never really been a favorite character of mine, never really intrigued me, but this has me intrigued. So, Justice League Dark, #1. And that concludes the DC portion of the pull list. We will go to the small little interlude with Saga Chapter 54. Saga is taking a year-long hiatus, so this is the ending of that storyline. It is the last issue of Saga that a lot of us are going to get for quite some time. I understand why they're doing that, for a story like this, in order to probably very, very taxing, and in order for them to keep writing good things. Maybe Miss Staples and Mr. Vaughn need an extended break, which I totally respect that. On the flip side of that, a year is an awful long time. Like, even when it goes on its brief hiatuses, like it does, sometimes I forget about things, and I don't know how I feel. And it doesn't matter, like, truly how I feel, because they are the writers, this is their work. They can do whatever they want. This is just simply my opinion. I feel like a year is too long, but, if this is what they need, good on them for that. I'm just here stating opinions on what I think, and I hope this is very good, and I hope that it sticks with me enough to where I'm excited for when Saga eventually makes its comeback. I hope this works out well in their favor, and it doesn't come back to kind of bite them in the ass. At the same time, I just this has been an up and down book in the last couple of years, and maybe that's probably why this extended break might be a good thing. But last issue of Saga for a while, so I'm gonna enjoy this one. And now we go to Marvel, and we go to Old Man Logan, #44. And as I've stated in the years past, I was kind of going through the motions, and this book's on the chopping block. Not the case anymore. Definitely not the case anymore. I enjoyed the previous story arc with Kraven and Old Man Logan, and now they're using Bullseye. Some have criticized this for being cheap and bringing in, too many old, other characters that aren't, associated with X-Men. They're calling it cheap, but you know what? It works. It makes sense. It's good storytelling. I've enjoyed this book a lot since they've started doing that. Maybe that's what this book needed. And the cover's just really sweet. I mean, check that out. But Old Man Logan 44, and then to round it all out, we have Mr. and Mrs. X, the storyline of the newlywed Gambit and Rogue, and that's pretty much the main reason I bought it. This is my favorite couple in all of comic books. They're gonna go with them getting married. Hopefully, this ends up being good. I'm kind of cautiously optimistic, because sometimes, just in recent years, Marvel's never really been consistent with Gambit, and I hope they don't retcon this whole thing at the end of it. I hope it's just... I hope this stays good. It's a 6-issue miniseries, I believe, so... we'll go from there. Hopefully they can continue with these characters being married and being used in X-Men storylines in the future, because Gambit's just kind of in and out. Rogue's very consistent, in the stories, but Gambit's in and out, and I'm hoping that they don't take away with what's fun about the characters and their relationship with them being married, but at the same time, I hope that, I get to see more often. I don't want to have Gambit a regular part of the X-Men stories if they're going to change his character up too much. So, I hope by him getting married, he still retains that entertaining factor. I know he can't be the womanizer anymore, but I hope he retains some of that entertaining factor, and they incorporate that into a marriage. I'm pretty intrigued, but it could go either way. But still excited to read this. Probably gonna be the first book I read out of this whole stack, to be honest with you, just because I'm excited for Gambit. And that is the end of the comics. I was also able to pick this up. You got this, last week I got a Riddler from this line. Well, this week I got Scarecrow. A nice little, cool little Scarecrow statue. And it's got a little magazine there discussing Scarecrow and Batman the Animated Series. It's, really enjoyed this line. I think I've collected every statuette from this line so far. So, next one up, Scarecrow. Picked that up this week. And that is it for the bounty this week. What did you pick up at your local comic shop? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and like to check out others, please click on the channel and check out other videos. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, give it a share, give me a subscribe, and if you would like more content, please visit the Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. Not just comic books, but gaming, anime, and pro wrestling content there, as well as on the channel. It's your one-stop place for all things geek culture. I am tired from this week's adventure, but beyond that, I got a lot of stuff to read. Y'all be cool. I'm out. Later.